everybody. Welcome to another Leaf Colectivo. It has been a few weeks since we did our last one. Definitely a couple of months since I had the pleasure of speaking with Mr. Hartley on this one. As you can see, he now smiles. So, Hartley, good to have you back in here.
Yeah,
How are you?
thanks for describing my non-smile as a smile. Yeah,
Uh,
I'll take that.
yeah, as well. So today it's all about monitoring of the conversion tracking. But I think that that's probably a little bit bigger than that. So you want to set the scene. You want to, like set the frame around what we're talking today.
Yeah, hopefully people haven't just tuned out because you said monitoring conversion tracking, which is like the dullest shit ever. But what this is about protecting paid media ROI from degradation, slowly degrading the efficiency of bidding and performance over time, or sea change stuff where tracking breaks and yeah, all of a sudden 20% of your revenue just disappears. So the context is the way that people treat tracking, the way that most brands, that high percentage of brands treat tracking in the industry. And I'll give you an analogy. So there's web development and your store and the development you do on your e-com store, and this is going out mainly to consumer retail brands, right? Where, someone visits your store and you've got product pages and collection pages and you've got the standard events, your add to carts, checkout, purchase, viewing a product page. Um, People are running paid media, driving traffic to that store. Yeah. You wouldn't in your right mind have us pay 50 grand to get someone to build you a store and then say, thanks very much. We're no longer going to monitor it. We're not even going to look at it. We're just going to assume it works. And we're going to spend, 50, 100 grand a month sending traffic through it. And then, fingers crossed that, revenue just comes out at the other end. Like, most brands are looking at their store every single day, multiple times a day in the back end of their store. They're dealing with customers, customer service. There's lots of signals coming into them all day that lets them know whether their site is or isn't working. And the most sophisticated brands will have some monitoring set up on their domain, right, in case the domain goes down, and it could ping them to say your website's down or something, right? But they've got eyes on that store every single day. They're developing it, they're updating products, the et cetera, right? And they've probably got multiple people who are looking at it on their phones, on their desktops, and developers, right? Um, that's not true for conversion tracking, but the same amount of media spend is going through that conversion tracking, and that conversion tracking is 100% responsible when you're running conversion campaigns for all the attribution, all of the bidding on your PMax and Advantage Plus campaigns, and pretty much all of the revenue that's coming through your paid media campaigns is driven nearly entirely by the tracking. So the equivalent would be you having a website and saying, thanks, Mr. or Mrs. Developer, for developing my website. Um, I no longer need you. I don't want you to look at it. I'm not going to look at it. I'm just going to assume it works. I'm going to trust it works. And I'm just going to just forget about it. And I'm just going to look at my bank balance just to see if money's coming in. Right. And then when that bank balance, when all of a sudden less money comes in today than yesterday or last month, or it's going down every day in the revenue, you don't think, I'll go and look at my website. That's probably the issue because that's where everyone's buying all the shit and etc. You're gonna go, no, no. Do you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna look at I'm gonna go to PR. I'm gonna blame PR, or I'm gonna look at my marketing and look at the buttons people are pushing in the ad accounts, or something else that's not your website. Whereas really, the first place you would go is your website, isn't it? You would just go, something's not right with the website. The conversion rate's dropped. There's something wrong. What's happened? Oh yeah, we pushed an update and it's broke the checkout, and people are getting stuck on the checkout. People would use Clarity, right, or Hotjar or something to look at that. But any which way, they've got eyes on the website pretty much all day, every day, monitoring this stuff, right? Um, this should be the case with conversion tracking. The problem is you can't see it. Your average person cannot see conversion. You only see the effect of convert, and even then, you need to be able to know that conversion tracking is causing that problem. So yeah, if your performance marketers in their paid media accounts and they see all these, if they see conversions disappear or a bunch of conversions come through with no value, so your ROAS disappears, you're like, there's a problem with the tracking. It's really obvious, right? That is the least likely issue with conversion tracking, that purchase event, because that's the one thing that's like protected most, and it's the most obvious. It's the most obvious one. There's like, I don't know, 10,000 other ways that your tracking can degrade or break, or when we say break, we mean, become erroneous or become incomplete in some way that are completely invisible to most people. And so tracking is, it's like this invisible partner that you have that you forget even exists, but it's almost just as crucial as your website for driving revenue into the business. And so the monitoring of it and actually understanding it and having an eye on it is has just become absolutely crucial, especially in light of your Advantage Plus and PMAX stuff now, which are just smart bidding campaigns where you cannot control the bidding on anything. You can give them some really broad demographic, age, gender, location. You can add some search themes into PMAX or some affinity audiences, in market audiences, or whatever. You can bid higher for new customers than existing customers, or only whatever, but it's just like a one-click setting. And then in Advantage Plus, it's probably even more limited, right? You can exclude some stuff and add some interest groups and broad, but you can't optimize bids on devices or browsers or screen height and screen width. But all these bids are happening behind the scenes, and the conversion tracking is driving it. So yeah, what we want to talk about in this is some of the issues that we're seeing with tracking, and then what you can, I don't know, kind of what you can do to help monitor this stuff and at least have some like health checks on it. And then we'll talk you through the challenges of that, because we built a solution for it and it's mega complicated. And with all the
Yeah,
development that's happening, it's becoming more and more complex to be able to monitor this stuff and fix it rapidly.
yeah. I wanna caveat for anybody listening that obviously, you know, and for those that know us and know Signal, you guys know that we have a product, right? Or part of our solution is Watcher, which monitors this piece. But the reason we're doing this, so don't. I want to caveat that this is not like a sales pitch, although behind the scenes kind of are. But
Please
it's
buy our product, though.
but
Yeah, please
it's an
do. Really buy
awareness,
it. Buy
like
the most expensive enterprise solution. Thanks.
yeah. But what we wanna say is like we just want to bring awareness, right? Um, a lot of people, right, treat conversion as one of these things that you set and forget, right? You hire somebody or hiring up, and you go and you turn it on, and then you think, right, and now I have conversion tracking, right, and you trust, heavily on that. It could be one of those free apps, right, from the store that gives you the conversion tracking. It can even be a pay one, right? That sell it behind the scene. That is just as simple as one click, and that's it. But every website is different, right? Every store is different. The myriad of applications that are out there, and how do you add it, and what do you add? Subscriptions, or CRM, or plugins for your cart, right? Like upsells. There's so many variations of it, and you don't know, right? Which one of them is gonna break, or which one of them is gonna feel like they're clever enough that they're gonna be firing events on your behalf, and then suddenly you're double firing events, right? Like you
Yeah,
didn't
when
know
when
about
you
it.
already have tracking. So just to give you an example, we had Friday last week, one of our clients just went, "Oh yeah, yeah, just install an app that does SEO and produces content on the site." It's getting pretty popular now because it's AI generated stuff to generate SEO content, whatever it is. I can't remember the app. And this is really common for a lot of these apps. They inject some code into your site. And anytime something's going to inject some code into your site, imagine it's a balanced ecosystem, right? And it's like introducing the cane toad into Australia or something like that, right? It's not in balance with the ecosystem. It's not meant to be there, right? And it messes up that ecosystem. And it's just the same. You add an app to the site, you don't know what it's going to do, even the greatest engineer on earth doesn't really know what it's going to do because they've not looked at the underlying form and every line of code in it and figured out. And you install it, it injects a line of code, and it just breaks the tracking. So what did this one do on Friday? On Friday of all days,
Yeah,
don't
and
do
then
releases on Fridays,
and to
right?
your point, right? I mean, it's an SEO app. It's not meant to
You
do
wouldn't think
anything
it would
else.
put
But
conversion track. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And in this case, it actually blocked all the scripts in the site under the gaze of speed optimization, and it broke the tracking, right?
But
And
that right there is really important. So speed optimization can block some scripts or lazy load some scripts or whatever, just to stop like lots of requests being processed at the same time on the website. It slows the website down, but it's indiscriminate, and it blocked all the scripts that do tracking. So that if you go to a purchase page, a purchase event goes purchase with the person, with the product, with the event, and sends it into the ad platforms. And it just went, nah, I'm just going to block all of that. Just
and
don't
then
like
that's what
it.
I
We'll just
did,
block
right?
it.
I mean, now luckily, right, Watcher captured it within 15 minutes of that happening. But the problem is, have
So
Watcher not been
what Gil
there,
means, it captures it. So it, it's watching the network requests on the website. It's agentic, our solution, right? So, and it's almost kind of playing spot the difference at scale, yeah? So it's like, it should look like this, right? If it doesn't, so a purchase event should load every single time on this thank you page, on the transaction thank you page. If it doesn't, or it doesn't load and send the event with the data packet that looks exactly like this, so a value is missing or the currency is wrong or whatever, or the click ID or something that's going to attach it back to the ad or identify, just tell us. Tell us how it's different and tell us where it's different. And that's how we do it, right? So that's what it did. It spat a thing like, this doesn't look like it should. There's all this stuff. Everything is missing, basically, right? Which is
yeah, exactly.
unusual. It's rare
And
that
and
that would happen.
but then it happened again on Saturday with a different brand, right? I mean, they went and did a change with some discount codes, which suddenly stopped the application or the store from selling. And again, right? I mean, it's one of those things, and this one is even worse because the other one at least let the customer sold. In this case, it didn't, right? And it's even worse when it's out of hours because who's there to test it, right? But the most important bit about this is like, you know, the free apps will not tell you anything. Some of the pay apps will tell you some, right? I mean, there is an app, I'm not going to say the name, that will send you an email every Friday with a bunch of lines, everything in green, and says everything is perfect. It's not telling you that the events are double firing. It's not telling you that they're triple firing. We evaluated as a brand recently this week that, had everything in green, but it was triple firing the most part of the user journey, and then some very specific pieces were missing. But the problem with this is that these apps don't understand, right, the journey or whatever. And what you need is to have an understanding and awareness of how it works, how it is meant to work, but then how do you monitor it, right? I mean, and there is not going to be a manual way to do this. I mean, you have to do it automatic, right? I mean, you
Just to
gotta have a
explain.
way, to do this. This is like you sitting on front of a computer, just refreshing the browser every 30 seconds to see if the browser is still working, right? I mean, if the app is still working, right? I mean, nobody's gonna do that, right? That's why they're in monitoring tools to see what the website is
Just to
on.
explain
You
the
need to do
impact.
something like this with,
Yeah, just to explain the impact of
with your
some of this
tracking.
stuff we're talking about. So on Friday, tracking stops working. Yeah, and all of the signals stop getting sent to your all of the conversion information. The ad platforms have no knowledge of what's going on. Like they just, they're not sentient being. And they're not like, hey, what's, all my oxygen's, they're not. They just see a conversion rate drop, a massive conversion rate drop. That's what it looks like. Oh, we were sending all this traffic, and up until a minute ago, this traffic was converting at 3%, right? Which is good. And I know that's good. and I was getting a cost per impression like this. So that's also affecting the auction. So like, yeah, these people are coming, clicking on the ads, and they're getting what they want, and it's helping me reduce the cost per purchase, right? Happy days. They just see a massive conversion rate drop and they go, "Oh, I'm no longer reaching the right audiences, or those ads are no longer performing like they should. I'll move the budget onto some other ads, or I'll change the targeting. I'll reduce the bids on all that stuff, on all that screen height and screen width and device and browser and location and gender and interest groups, and I'll just reduce all the bids and I'll just up the bids on a whole bunch of other stuff because that's stopped working, and it's smart bidding. It's automatically allocating your budget on different audiences, different ads, different ad sets, or whatever, if you're using campaign budget optimization. Even, you might have your campaigns linked within an account and it can just move it all around, or you might have CPA targets and ROAS targets. It's going to really mess with the bidding, the performance, the return on ad spend, the profitability of your paid media spend is directly affected. So the other day, talking to a client, did an audit on the site. I was like, "Oh, you're not compliant, like all this stuff." And he was like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, we added this app to um to do our like a content management platform to do the cookie banner, and like half of our revenue just disappeared over a weekend." I was like, "Well, yeah, because your banner's not interruptive. So what you've done is you've added a new cookie banner provider. It's blocked automatically, just blocked all the tracking because you're in the EU, which is compliant, but you've not made the banner interruptive. So nobody needs to opt in to the banner or
Or opt
decline
out if
whatever,
you get what I
or
mean.
opt out, do something with the banner just to go and buy stuff from your site. So what you've done is effectively just cut off all of the conversion tracking that's feeding all the algorithmic bidding and performance because you've not set up your cookie banner in the right way. If you want it to be compliant, make it fully interruptive, right? You need to do that to maximize opt-in, right? It's the only way you've got to do it, really. So yeah, all these things basically just disappear revenue from your business. So why people wouldn't monitor or invest in conversion tracking? The same shit when we hear, "Oh, it's not in the budget, this conversion. It's not in the, but it's not, is it in your budget to like lose money every single day because your conversion tracking is broken? But because you don't understand it or believe it, it's just not happening." But and it's because people can't directly associate conversion tracking with money, but that's what it is. It's conversion tracking, it's bidding, it's targeting, it's money into your business. And the fact that people just don't monitor it or use free apps, especially when they're spending a lot of money, it's just, I don't
I
know,
mean, but the thing
mind-boggling.
is, it's hard. We get it. It's hard. We know it. We build it. We live in it. It's freaking hard. But that doesn't mean, like everybody's using AI these days, and AI is hard, right? Doesn't mean that you need to write your own LLMs, right? I mean, your own models and train them and do everything before you start using them. But you need to be aware, right? I mean, I think this is the key piece is that this thing breaks, right? And unless you're constantly monitoring it for it not to break, it's gonna break. And you want to know when it breaks, and you want to know as soon as it breaks, because you don't want to be spending money. You also want to know when it might not that it breaks, like in the surface, it might be working, but it might be that you added a new analytic solution that offer you to start sending copy data behind the scenes, and suddenly you're double firing your copy data. Oh, but it's not in real time because the analytics platform batches the data, so it's not immediately where you can see it, but it's screwing up with your pay media. And let
And then you turn it
alone
off, then you go, "Oh no, it's double firing." You eventually see it, and then you turn it off and you go, "Hmm, our ROAS has halved, but not only that, like real money has disappeared from the business. The campaigns are not performing anywhere near as well, and it's taken like weeks to get the performance back on track." And it's just this
that even
inefficiency
even even
in,
fixing it, like requires strategy. Like, and this is something that we speak a lot, right? I mean, it's even knowing how to fix it, right, and what order, and the tempo behind it, because it can have massive disruption to your performance, and let alone speak about data going into your decision-making systems, right? Because if you're feeding it wrong data, you're not only feeding wrong data to the algorithms, you're feeding wrong data to yourself, right? And it's
So,
easy to lie to yourself, in many ways with data. And oftentimes, it's subtle enough that you might not see it,
so
especially
to
if,
give people an idea of the cost of it, right? Imagine you could there's a simple calculation you can do. Imagine that you've got a problem with your conversion tracking that you don't know about. You will do. 100% of people listening to this will have a problem with some problem with their conversion tracking that they probably don't know about, right? So imagine it's not like, the purchase event isn't firing or something like that, which you would hope your performance marketer, whoever's in the ad accounts, would notice that, right? Although we've seen that people don't. But imagine it's something, I don't know, like you're not passing your remarketing tag isn't firing on Google. You wouldn't see that. You wouldn't see it because you're doing remarketing in Google ads through a bunch of different. Google Analytics automatically generates audiences and sends them into Google. Google automatically generates retargeting audiences from clicks on ads from like on-platform actions, right? And in much the same way Meta automatically retargets people who've liked or commented on your ads or clicked on a post or visited your page, right? And those engagement audiences. So imagine that you've got a problem with your remarketing tag on Google, or you've got a problem with um, your remarketing, your retargeting on Meta, where you're not doing personalized retargeting because you're not firing, you're not sending the right product ID. You can't match a particular product ID that it captures on the pixel from your website and matches it with your product feed, right? So imagine you've got that problem, and it seems like a little problem. If you're spending 50 grand a month, you've got £50 average order value, and you're doing, 50 grand a month, yeah, £50 average order value, you're doing about a 3x, right? So you're spending about 600 grand a year, £50 average order value, 3x, it's like, I don't know, tens of thousands of purchase conversions a year, right? Imagine you're missing 3% of them. Go and work out what that's going to cost you. 3% efficiency in your ad spend. So say you increased your ROAS by just 3%. Like, what would that mean in monetary terms when you're spending 100 grand? I bet it's tens of thousands of pounds a year. And at larger spends, hundreds of thousands of pounds a year, and bigger average order values, of maybe 100, 150 quid, 200 quid. Looking hundreds of thousands of pounds a year in lost revenue, lost efficiency, and this could be incremental, right? If your channels are set up really well, where you've got all the right exclusions and you're bidding for new customers and it's new customer acquisition, you're excluding all your customers, excluding all your web visitors from the top of funnel. So most of your spend is going on incremental new customer acquisition at the top of the funnel. That shit could be costing you hundreds of thousands of pounds a year in lost paid media revenue, lost paid media profitability. Even 0.5%, even a 25th of 1%, if you're spending hundreds of thousands of pounds, could be costing you hundreds of thousands of pounds a year. If you're spending hundreds of thousands of pounds a month, millions of pounds a year, 25th of 1% is costing you, in actual terms, it's costing you two heads in the business, two senior heads in the business. And people don't realize how the scale of it. So yeah, at smaller spends, 50 grand, 50 quid AOV, spending 600 grand a year, it's still meaningful. It's still tens of thousands of pounds a year, 25 grand, 30, 40, 50 grand a year in lost paid media revenue.
And something that we've seen as well is we get brands as well that come with the pain of like, oh, I'm not able to scale, right? Like I've got to like a ceiling of sorts, right? Oftentimes it's because they were able to just get to what they could, and then the algorithm is missing all these different right signals, right, to be able to expand, right? I mean, let alone the campaign structures. But I mean, we're starting to see a lot of, I don't know where this trend is coming from, right? A lot of like cost cap campaigns, broad targeting. Everybody's trusting, like Facebook and Google to do to do the segmentation and the funnel targeting. I mean, fair dues to Facebook to train everybody to think Andromeda is this know-it-all algorithm, but it ain't. You still need to be sending, like all the right, or even more so, right? If you're trusting the platforms to be making the decisions, the bare minimum that you should be doing is passing, giving the algorithms the right
Well, it's called
information.
smart bidding for a reason. But the smart part of it is using the conversion tracking data from your website into the ad accounts. That's why it's smart, because it's learning from product interactions with real people, and then these events, intent-based events that it learns from on your website, as well as all the on-platform signals. But for everybody who's optimizing for cost per purchase, all of that is coming from your website, all of those signals. That's the smart bit of it. So if you're not sending it the stuff to make it smart, then it's not smart bidding. It's like dumb bidding or averagely intelligent bidding. It's just like the more you can optimize your conversion tracking, the smarter the bidding will become. And the clue is in the title. So yeah, if you want to have your particular algorithm that's on your account, say, um, and you want your accounts to be learning from product interactions and then go and targeting the right people at the top of funnel with the products that your customers have bought. It's profiling your customers and it's profiling the products that they interact with and buy. And then it's just getting more of those people with, the smart shopping campaigns. That's what they do. So if it's not learning from your product interactions, it's affecting the top of funnel targeting as well as the size and richness and how dynamic and personalized your retargeting audiences are, and all of that is efficiency, it's CPA, it's CAC, it's ROAS, it's ROI, it's profitability.
Yeah, I mean, again, I know, like treat this as a learning or as an awareness, right? Obviously, we have the solution, but and the thing is, there is not such a solution out there. I think apart from ours, because it's hard, but also because it kind of speaks to how little attention some people put into this. When it's the foundation to your marketing, it is the foundation to your success. It's the foundation to everything else. So I think it's super important that you give it a try. To go and monitor it, to see it. We're happy to help. Even free of charge. If you guys want to just have a look, audit your site, just reach out. Go to the website leafsignal.com. No strings attached. We're not going to try to sell you on anything. What we will want you to know is what the state of your conversion tracking is. That's the bare minimum. Watcher will do the audit for you guys, but ultimately, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much money you're spending, if millions or hundreds, or even a few thousand. However money you're putting through, you want to make sure that it's being spent and maximized as much as possible. And I think these days, with all this AI stuff, Shopify is making it easier than ever to be making website changes to the website. Right now, with just a few prompts, you're changing the landing page, you're changing this, changing that. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes on that. And unless you're in control, unless you have the right mechanism, the right guardrails to know that things are going to continue functioning the way it should be functioning, that's the bare minimum investment that you should do. So make sure that, it doesn't break. And if it breaks, then you find out as soon as possible. That's our message for today. We're not going to make it big. We're not going to make it long. I think that this has been long enough. But I hope that from today, we have planted a seed of curiosity, but also of awareness that if you're spending money, just as with the website, you need to be on top of it. You need to be monitoring your signals. Make sure that they don't break. Make sure that they work all across the funnel, especially if that funnel, deviates from the standard in the bare minimum. That's our session for today. Wes, any parting words?
No.
The smile. Now, it's a good one today. I hope everybody's back from Shop Talk. If you went to Barcelona, this episode will be airing right after that. Hope that you really take this into consideration. and hope that you at least go and give it a try. Figure out how is your conversion tracking working. It's, you know, we're starting early, right? It's May, we're going into June, but also without we know it, we're gonna be in holiday season. Everybody's gonna be screaming, everybody's gonna be rushing it. If you want to fix it and it's broken, right now is probably the best time, you know, for that, unless you're going into season, and even so, more so, because you're going to be spending a lot of money. So make sure that everything is secure, everything is monitored, and that you can confidently, you know, put your hands on the fire for your conversion tracking, because you're putting the money behind it. That's it, everybody. Thank you. Have a good one. Enjoy.